Okay, so I have this folder structure. I will be teaching CSS. I will put in the CSS folder. I have database. I will put it database. Data structure will go here. JavaScript part will go here. Node.js will go here. React.js will go here. So I will open the terminal. If you don't have open terminal, you can click the new terminal to open the terminal. Inside the terminal, go to the React.js folder. So I am inside the class 1 and the React.js, and I will run the command which I will see in this documentation. So to install the React, we have to run the command, this one, npx create react app my app. So I will run this command. I'll say npx create react app, and then I'll give the project name which I want. So for example, I will give my project. So I give the name of my project. So what it will do, it will create the whole React directory inside the my project. Okay, so that is what it will do here. So till it runs, I'll just go through some of the concepts, what some of the other things which I want to explain. 1 second. So let it install it. Till then we will talk something. Okay, so Vinay is having some problem in the sound. Okay, Vinay, wait for a few seconds and see if it is still problem. Then you have to rejoin it. Maybe you log out and log in back again, because Anand is getting clear sound. Amandeep is also getting clear sound. So there are few new people in the class today. That's the reason I'm repeating the React.js part, how to install the React.js, because they might have missed it. So maybe those who are new, they can at least go through this video, 48 number and 49 number, and tomorrow before you join the class, you will at least complete 48 and 49 number video, and today will be the 50th number video. So that way you will better understand the things. Then also I'll repeat few concepts of the React which I explained yesterday, but I will explain it again. Okay, till it install. So I will just repeat something for the new people who have joined the class. So what I will be teaching, I already started HTML, some part of CSS and JavaScript. JavaScript is ongoing, which I will be teaching continuously for a long time, maybe 6 months, 8 months. And I will also teach React.js, Node.js, and React Native, and I will also go with the database like MySQL, Mongo, and what you call as parse server, my favorite. Those who were last year with me, they know how much I like the parse server. I generally write my whole my personal program in the parse server. Okay, so this Anand was there last year and he knows I love parse server. It is very good in saving my data. Okay, MongoDB, and I will also go with the GraphQL and TypeScript, which is right now in for job it is needed. GraphQL, TypeScript, and few more which I will explain you later. So these are the main core concepts which I will go through it, and for the betterment of your job. So either you can take the front-end job in React.js, or you can React.js and Redux, or you can take mobile job in React Native, or you can work on the backend technology in Node.js. So you can become front-end developer or mobile developer or the back-end developer after you complete this course. So this is the everyday I will run the class at 8 p.m. PST, and those who don't know the PST, they can go and Google it and compare the time with their time zone. For example, if you live in India, EST to IST, you can convert the time like this. Okay, so for example, 8 p.m. PST, that means 8:30 a.m. is Indian time. Okay, so you can compare what time the class will be. And after November, time will change. So 8 p.m. will be 9:30 for Indian time. So depending on where you live, you have to compare your time and you have to see where exactly you live. Okay, so this is what we will be doing. Every day the class will be at 8 p.m. PST, and this is the long-term class. That means you don't think that in 1 month you will know everything. There are thousands of concepts are there, and every day I will be showing you some concepts, and gradually you will become a full stack developer after a year or two, whatever the class will run. I am expecting I may run this class for a year or 2 years, I don't know, till I have capacity. Okay, so whatever I teach, try to learn that, and the class is absolutely free. I don't charge anything. This is I'm doing for my personal satisfaction. I don't want to earn from this teaching. I'm already getting good money from my job, and I don't want to earn from this class. I work in Walmart in California, Sunnyvale. I have experience of about 20 years in web development. Okay, this is just giving you my introduction, those who are new. Okay, so this is what is brief about me. So let's see about the React app. Okay, so I created, and this installation is done. I told you to run the create React app, and those who are new, they can also run it now. But if they do not have the setup, they can probably watch the video again, and then they can do it after the class. Okay, and now once I run the command npx create React app my project, you will see inside the React.js a folder is created called as my project. And inside this my project, I have many folders called as node modules, public, source, git ignore, package.json, readme.md, yarn.log. In these files, I will talk in detail after a few days once you understand the React.js. So let me talk about it. Okay, so these are the folders created by React automatically, and most of the folders you don't have to worry about now. You have to only worry about the source folder. So we have to change our code in the source folder only. Before I change anything in the source folder, let me start the server so that I can see it. So I will just say I will go to the folder. Which folder I will go? I will go to the my project folder. And inside my project, I will run the command npm start. So those who have installed it now, they can run npm start. And those who are very new, they don't know how to do that. They can watch the video and do it after the class. But from tomorrow, you have to do the project along with me. Okay, once we see npm start, we will see the page and we will see how to do the changes on the page in the React application. I'm waiting for this to start. So till it starts, I will again talk about something. So we will be building lot of projects in our course. Last year I built a Craigslist-like website, but now I will be building small projects this year so that you will understand things in a better way. And we will discuss the project and we will build that project. I don't want to discuss about those projects now because there are a lot of things to be learned in the React.js before we really start building something useful. Okay, now let's see if this is done or not. I'll go to localhost 38000. Once I run the npm start, I will wait for some time and then I'll go to the URL localhost 3000. Okay, and the page will render here. Yeah, so as soon as you see this screen, that means React is installed properly and you have successfully started your server with the React application. So let me close this. So I have in the React application, I have this files. So to change something, it's saying edit source app.js and save to reload. So we will go to app.js and we will do some modification and we will save to reload this page. So if I go to app.js, you will see the code is written. This is the HTML code. This HTML code is written inside the JavaScript. This is a JavaScript file. So inside the JavaScript file, we have written this code, this HTML code. So in React, we always put HTML code inside the JavaScript, and that is how React works. So what I will do, I will delete all whatever there in this return statement, and I will just give one div tag with hello world. And I will also delete the top two lines. And the first line which I will make is, I will say import React from React. And once I say import React from React, I can use a lot of features from the React in my application, which I will do shortly. And then I create a function, and inside the function there is a return statement with the div tag. And div tag has some text in it. And if I see in the browser, it is saying hello world in the browser because of this. And this specifically code is called as JSX. JSX is something, the term where we put HTML inside the JavaScript. So this code is called the JSX. If I open the README file, I will write down. So using HTML in JavaScript, and how it is rendered because of the JSX. JSX is something language of React. It is React language, and it means we are putting HTML inside the JavaScript. That is what we are doing it here. So whenever we want to do some text or HTML, we will just put it inside the React in the return statement inside this function. And if you notice, this is the app is a function, and each function which we create, we can use it as a component. This function is called the component in the React. So what you see app is called component in React. You can create as many components as you want, and that will be all. You can use it in your application. Right now there is only one component, and that component is called the app component. And you can put anything in this HTML. Now if you want to give any class, generally in HTML, how you give the class, CSS class, you just say class. Okay, but in React, class is a keyword, and I cannot use class here in anywhere in my page. So therefore, class has to be renamed to class name. We cannot say class. We have to say class name, and then I can give any class name like container. Okay, and then I will create another maybe tag, h1 tag, my world, for example. Okay, so you can see my world is there, and the class is called as container. Now, this is a simple HTML. You can put any HTML inside this return statement and it will work fine. But what if you want to create something on the page which will dynamically update? Okay, so for example, you create a div, and you can say, for example, my number. Okay, just say my number, And if you want to some variable here, whatever variable if you want to put it here, so how will you put that variable inside the JavaScript, inside the React app? Generally, people create variable using the var. In olden days, var name equal to XYZ. Generally, people create var, but since in React we have to use EA6 version of JavaScript, so instead of var, you have to put the constant of name XYZ. Now, if I want, this is the variable I created, constant name XYZ. I can put this variable name here, or I will say number. Let's create a number, or maybe NUM, and I'll put some number 1, 2, 3. So I will put this number. I want to use this variable inside my HTML. So how can I put variable in the HTML? So let's create a curly bracket, and I will put the variable name inside the HTML. Since variable is a variable, I have to put inside the curly bracket. All other things are normally we put like HTML, but any variable which we have to put is using the curly bracket. Now if I see the page, it is saying my number 1, 2, 3. Now what if I want to update this number to some different number? For example, if I create a button, okay, and button will be maybe increment. Okay, so I want to increase this number to 1 more. So let's say initially I have a number of 0. So initially my number is 0, but I want to increase it to 1. So what I can do? I cannot say when on click of the button, I cannot say click of the button, do something like increase the number to 1. So it is not allowed in React. We cannot increase the number in React. So whenever we have something which changes, so whenever we want something to change, then we must use variables which are called as state variables. What is called state variables? And if you see this num is not the state variable, it is a simple variable. So when I use the num, I won't be able to update it. So whenever I click the button, I want to increase the number. I want to increment the number from 0. Okay, something is wrong. Button increment. Let's see what is the problem. Okay, so I cannot increase the number 0 because this is the variable num equal to 0. It is a constant. That means it will not change. Even if I change it to let, I cannot change number directly without creating the state variables. That means whatever variable I create here, I can change here. Like if let's say I can create 2 variables, x equal to 1. So I will say if x equal to 1, then I can change the number to num equal to, for example, 2. So it's displaying 2 because it is going inside the if condition. So I can change the variable value here in this lines of the code, but it will not change when I click the button. So when I want to do it purposely, then this will not work. Okay, so this will not work. This will only work if we have to do some standard coding without user interaction. But if there is a user interaction, I cannot create the variables like this way. I have to create a state variables, otherwise it will not work. So though I can create a variable and I can use the variable in the page, but I cannot update it. Why I cannot update it? I cannot update it because this number is not the state variable. In React, whenever you want to change any variable value which you want to display here based on the user interaction, then you have to create the state variables. Normal variables will not work. If I create a variable, I cannot change this variable based on the user interaction. Though I can change with my automated script, that is if condition or while loop or for loop, I can change the value of the num and it will display the new value here. But when I click something, I cannot change it because this is not a state variable. Only state variables are allowed to change. Otherwise, you won't be able to change it. Now, how to create the state variable? So to create the state variable in React, there is a special mechanism that is, I will show you in a bit. So let's delete all this code and we will create a state variable. So to create the state variable, I have to say constant. Then I have to create a rectangular bracket like array, and I will say equal to react.useState. Okay, so this line of the statement is used to create the state variable. How to create state variable? So to create the state variable, I have to use constant with the rectangular bracket and equal to react.useState. Now we have to fill the gap. In this rectangular bracket, we have to put, and in this rectangular bracket, we can put only two elements. First element will be the name of the variable. What is the name of variable? I can say num. And what is the another parameter here? Another parameter we have to see. I have to put a function name. So I can say set num. So num is the variable which can be used to display something on the page, and set num, which is this one, is a function which will update the value of num. So if I want to change the value of num to different value, I will use the function called as set num. And inside this use state, I have to give the default value of the variable num. So what you want default variable value? I can say 0. So here also I will put 0 here as a default value. Since I put 0 as a default value, you will see here it is showing 0 in this page. If I change the value of default to, for example, 100, you will see on the page it is showing 100 as a default value. So num will take initial value of 100 and set num will be used to update the num value of num. So let's take the initial value of num as 0, and here I will display the num. So here you can see my number equal to 0 because I have used the 0 as a default value. Now why you will say, oh, why variables are created in this fashion? So this is the React way. So there is no reason why it is there. They thought that to create a variable we have to use like this way. So we are using like this way. So if I would have created framework, I would have used different way to create a variable. This is the React way to create a variable, and the set num is a function to update the value of the num. So now what I have to do, I have to change the value of num when someone will click this button. So in this button, I will call on click. Since I have to use the click functionality, so I will use on click equal to, I'll start with a curly bracket. And inside the curly bracket, I have to write a arrow function. So what is the arrow function? I will put the round bracket and I will say arrow, and then I'll put a curly bracket. So inside this curly bracket, I have to put the arrow function. This is the arrow function. And this arrow function here, I have to call something which will update the number. Now how will I update the number? I have to use this function called as set num. So I will say set num. What I have to put in the set num? In the bracket, I have to put the new value which will be for the num. So what I will do, I will take the num as a previous value and I will add it 1 to this num. So whatever value was there of the num, I will add 1 to it and I will pass as a parameter to set num. I will pass as an argument to set num. When I pass this new value num plus 1 into the set num, the value of this num will be updated to whatever I have passed here. Okay, so this is how we will update the value of this num variable. Okay, so now okay, so now what I will do, I will click the increment button and you will see 0 is incremented to 1. Okay, so what is the spelling of the increment? I think spelling of increment is not correct. It's this one. So let's change the spelling of the increment. So what is happening here? I have the variable this num and there's a button here. When I click this button, this onClick function is called and function is written in the arrow format. And what I am calling this setNum function with the new value of the num. Previously it was 0. I am adding 1 to it. So the new value will be 1 and it will pass in this setNum function. So the new num value will be changed to 1 and it will display here as a 1. And then again when I click increment, it will take the last value which is 1 and it will add 1 and it will pass to setNum. So here I will see and number 2 here. So my number will be 2. So if I click increment, it's updating the value. And when it is updating this number, this whole rendering part does not change. This one also does not change. Only this part is changed on the page and we get the updated value of this one. So this is the increment button. Now I will ask you one question. What is this num? Let me ask you 5, 6 questions so I should know.
Variable, sir.
It is variable, but it is a state variable because this is not the normal variable. It is a state variable because I am using use state. So this num is a variable, that is correct. Answer is correct, but it is a state variable. Why I have created a state variable? Because I have to change this variable in the course of my program. When will I change the value of the num? When I will click the increment button. Then I will change the value of num. So how can I change the value of num? Can I write this one as maybe num equal to, let me cut this, num equal to num plus 1. Is this right way to write, change the value of num? Is this right?
Assignment is not, sir, assignment is not allowed in React, sir. You told that.
Right. So this one is not right way. We cannot change the num directly. Since this is a constant, but even if I don't put the constant, I create a variable using the var or let also, but then also I should not change the num directly. It will not work in the React.js. We cannot change the value of num by directly updating the value of num like this way. We have to use the state variable, and to update it, we have to always use this function to update the value of this num. So I'm saying set num equal to num plus 1. So set num, what is the set num? Set num is a function to update the value of num. And what is this 0?
Sir, value passing to num.
It is a default value which is passed to the num. So num's default value is 0. And this is the statement to create the state variable. So this is the React way of creating the variable. Now, for example, if I want to display something which will not change, but which is a variable. So, for example, I will create a constant name equal to maybe I can say XYZ, just for namesake. And if I want to display this name here, because it will not change, I just want to display some variable XYZ. So is this right way to create XYZ, or I should create a state variable for this one like this? What is right? First line or second line? Is this right or this is right?
Second one, sir.
Second one is right? Second one is right? Rakesh, you answered it, right?
Yes, sir.
But you know, second one is not right. The reason is we are not changing this. It is the static, but it is coming from the variable, but we are not changing it. If we don't want to change a variable in the page by the user, then this state variable is useless, because this state variable can only be created when we want to change that variable through some circumstances. So the second way here in this case is not right. We should not create the state variable, because state variable only can be created if we want to change the value. Now I will ask another question. Let's delete this part. I will create another button, and here I will say change color, and here I will write some code, blah blah blah, which I will do it now. Now what happened? I want to show the color. For example, I will show the color, and I will put color. Okay, so I'll create another variable color. Okay, so this is a variable color is created, but when I click the change color, I should change color to something different from here. So is this the right way to create the color, or the second way, that is like this?
Sir, if you want to change the value, then second way is right. If you don't want to change the value, then first one is right.
Okay, but based on this example, based on this button, whether second one is right or first one is right?
Second one is right, sir.
Second one is right,
You
because
have to
I
use the
created
state
a
variable.
button. Yeah, right. Second one is the state variable, and since I created this button to change color, therefore the first way is not right, and it will not update the color properly. So we have to use the second way. And if I want to change the color, I can call the set color. I cannot write color equal to new color. I cannot say color equal to maybe new color hash FF0000. I cannot say like this, because I should not change this color variable. It is not allowed. I cannot touch this color to change it. I can only touch this to display it. So to change the color, I will use set color, and I will put it inside bracket. I will pass a new color. So when I pass new color, and let's take the code, I change color, and now the new color is here. So that means if we want to change something on the page, then we will use this statement, that is the state variable. But if I don't want to update anything on the page, then I will use this style. That is directly I create a variable name, or I will use let or name whatever, or constant, whatever I want. Okay, so is this clear? This part, state variable and the normal variable. So this is called a normal variable, and this is called the state variables. So always use state variables whenever you want to change it, but always use normal variable then you don't want to change it. So this is what we learned today, and I will suggest you to write down this code so that you can practice it later, and I'll give you 2-3 minutes to finish this code. Maybe if you have not created this directory, maybe write anywhere in your notepad, then when you create a React project, you can put it there. So just I'll give you 2 minutes, just finish this code and write it. Okay, so let me know once you're done with this. So since we cannot change the color directly, so that is, it is also called immutable. That means we cannot change the variable directly, but we can only change the variable using some functions. And what function I'm using it? I'm using set color. So set color is the way to change the value of the color, but we cannot change the color value directly. So it is called immutable. You cannot mutate it to some different value. So to mutate it, you need to change it. You need to call the set color, which will not mutate it, but it will create a new copy of it, and it will update the color with the new copy. So we'll talk about mutation later on, and today is the first day of the React, maybe second day. So we don't want to talk about mutation now, but there is a lot more we have to learn about the mutation in the React.js, which we will do in few weeks. Okay, so every day we will learn something new. We will see something new in it. This is not only the React.js class, but you will learn JavaScript also, Node.js also, database also, a lot other things you will learn. So this is the first project which I started in the React. Yesterday I started the first project, but I am going through the basics of the React today. And you can go through yesterday's class, 48, 49 number, complete these two lectures and do the coding of these two lectures before you come for tomorrow's class, because tomorrow I will continue with this 49, whatever I have finished half in the 49 lesson, I have to complete that. But since today there are many other new students are there, I did not work on that part, but I will do that tomorrow. Okay, so any questions about what we did today?